I thoroughly understand why some people are willing to tow a little camping trailer. They might be willing to tow a little boat trailer. But the prospect of a big wide caravan like this, honestly, that is more than they could manage. Now I've checked the width of this one behind me and it's 7'3" wide. That's 2.2 metres and that's substantial. It's more than a lot of cars are. Well, you do get used to it, I promise you. Go on a training course and you soon grasp it. But there is another way. And the other way is right here. It's a model called the Silver by a big international company called Trigano. And this one, when you run the tape out, it isn't 7'3" wide, it's under 6 foot. That's not 2.2 metres, it's a mere 1.8 metres. Now that is interesting because it's so small. I wonder what its height is like. Let's check. With the help of the tape, I established that this is 1.95 metres, that's about 6'5", and that's pretty small, that's pretty low, and indeed the manufacturers tell you further that you could park this permanently in an ordinary domestic garage. Yeah, well, I don't always believe these claims, so I went home, I lifted the up and over door, that takes up a little bit of space in the aperture, but wow, it's right. I had 4 inches, that's 10 centimetres clearance. And I'm sure that your garage would be very, very much the same. So that's good news. But there is another issue here. This is fine if you're having a holiday as a hobbit. But we're humans and we want more headroom. But this roof does lift up, and I'm going to show you how. The sequence involves lifting the front part of the roof and the back in a similar way as well. Then the side panel opposite the door is raised, bolted in place, whereupon you can then increase the height of the door to the toilet compartment. This just leaves the last panel, and if you think this is all too physical, you can opt for a motorised accessory to help. I'm around 5'10" in height, and look, there's plenty of clearance. Isn't that clever? This particular model is the 310 Silver, and there are something like 7 or 8 in the range altogether. I need to point out though that when these are sold, they're sold in a very basic form. A lot of things aren't included that you might expect to get. And the price is fairly substantial too, because it may be small, but it's not necessarily cheap. All this assembly around the lifting roof is complicated to build, and it does work so well. So typically they start around £14,000. This one, which is 3 years old, is a little bit under 11,000, but also includes an awning, which is a fairly substantial item. Other optional things include a grill. If you want a grill, you have to tick the box and pay a little bit more. Things like a shower are not included either. And it's a cold water caravan, which if you're thinking of showers is possibly really a summertime option. There's also the coupling head. You get a standard one. If you want to stabilise a coupling head, well, yes, that can be fitted at a small extra cost. And that's the nature of the marketing strategy. That aside, I didn't know much about these until now, and I'm impressed by the way it's built. And for those of you who don't want to tow a whopping great caravan, this is something you really need to look at.